So look at pivot tables in Python. Right? How does that sound? So the first thing is, let's create okay. I don't have this here. Not sure. Let's cut this out. So we'll be creating another data set as usual. You can just call these sales data again. TFA store. All right. So this is TFA store data, and then we'll just do PD dot data frame. Pass in the dictionary, we open it up. Then we can say branch. Lowercase. Can say cities. Let's just use cities. Then we use some random cities name. Klatos. Van. Circle. Then we'll say circle again. Then we'll say Klatos. What other city? What other city do you know? Okay, we can just repeat. Okay, Palamuta. All right, so these are city names, yeah, of a very great, in a very great country, of a particular state, in a very great region. Okay, and of course we'll do our dot split, and then we'll do that. Next thing I want to put, let's just say sizes, maybe shirt sizes. Just do something differently. Shirt size. I mean, how does that even relate? But yeah, it does. So want medium, want large, medium, large. Let's say large again. Let's say medium. Let's say small. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Oh, we have to have 6. So let's make this small. All right. So we have small. I'll do dot split as well. And finally, we want to have the sales in dollars. All right, sales in USD. I would say 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 100. Okay, let's just put it that way. And we want to check what we have. TFA store. Okay, nice. So we can see that we have all of this city and we have them as a data frame, right? We have it as a data frame. So the next thing I want to do is to use pivot table to summarize all the data. I want to use pivot table to summarize the data. Let's see what that looks like in reality. Okay. Oh, let's print raw data. I think the analytical flow, analytics flow store. Okay. \n. All right. Then we'll continue with what we want to do. So down here, now we'll say, um, let's save it inside another variable. Say pivot summary, or yeah, pivot summary. Just finding it hard to decide on what variable name. Pivot summary. Then let's push this down. Then we'll say, what's the variable name again? TFA store. TFA store dot pivot underscore table. You can see it already. So we'll say pivot underscore table. I want to pass in the argument. So if you look at this, over on it, it says values, it says index, it says this. Now that's the value is what we used already. So this is the values. So the next thing we'll proceed to pass in is the what? The index, right? The index is the next thing. And do not forget that for index, they appear this way. So basically, index will mean rows. So what do we want to use as rows in this case? Okay, so we'll say index, and then we'll say our cities. Cities will be rows. Then we can pass in column. Say columns. So if we go back here again, see, we have index, we have columns, we have aggregate function, right? So we'll say columns. In this case, we want columns to be shed size, right? Yeah, shed size. And then we want to pass in values. In this case, that will be sales in dollars, because now we're doing it as a keyword argument. Okay, we're using it as a keyword argument, so we do not necessarily need to follow the order that is in there. So the next thing we want to pass in is the aggregate function. Aggregate function, and in this case, we just want a sum. Okay, I think the default is a mean, so yeah, mean. All right, and we have margin, by the way. We have margins, and we'll check it out. What else? What else? What else? Yep, I think we're good. And then we can say print sales summary. All right, and then down here we want to put in pivots. Pivot summary. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. And now see what we're getting. You can see we're getting the shed size. Getting the shed size at the top, right? Cities. So for this particular city, the search, we don't have small shed size. We don't have small. We don't have large here. We don't have large here. So let's see if we take out the columns, run it again. You can see it's just giving us a basic feel of grouping and aggregation. So explore it. Let's pass in margin. So margins, the margins as yeah, margins, and then we say true. By default, margins is true. So what do we get with margins? We get the summary, not the summary, column total and row total. Okay, that's what it gets for us. We get the column total, and you can see that it was able to escape the nan intelligently. So we get the row total and column total. But if we don't want that, you can just take it out completely. and the default is false. Okay, you don't get the row and column total. So which one would you prefer? Pivot table in Python or grouping and aggregation in Python? So let me know in the comment section below. Which one do you prefer? Which one do you feel is you're more comfortable with? Will you be more comfortable with the pivot table, which you're used to? Let's say if you have an Excel background, or you prefer the group by and the aggregation? Yes, and finally, we're about to look at join. Okay, so let's collapse this. Simply